the episode today. This is a super fun one. Of course, they're all super fun, but this one's great in its own way because I am talking about the holidays and travel, and it's just going to be a great one. So, our title is Give the Gift of Travel: Why Memories Matter More Than Stuff. So, it's going to be a fun one. The problem with more stuff is every December, we all say the same thing. I'm going to do better this year. No chaos, no stress, no 2 a.m. wrapping marathon. I'm going to get it all done early. I'm just going to, figure things out, and it's going to be easier and better. But somehow the stress always sneaks up on us. We have Amazon boxes, receipts, wrapping frenzies, and it's just like a never-ending just rat race to get it all done. But what if the best gift isn't something that you wrap at all? So the overwhelm is real, like we've talked about. There's too many gifts, too much stress, not enough meaning, and it just kind of catches us up in the hurry of it all and the hustle and bustle of it all. I think I have talked about this before, but I am from a family of 11 kids. I am the second of 11. I have 7 sisters. There's 8 of us girls and 3 brothers. So it was a fun, crazy time growing up. But to be sure, our Christmases were not extravagant, just to put it lightly. They definitely were not extravagant, as you can imagine. If you had 11 children, they would not be. So as a result, when I became a parent, I totally kind of overcompensated for my childhood. I just thought, I just want to do all these wonderful things for my kids, and it's just going to be so great. I have 4 kids myself, and it just really became kind of a struggle for me as I thought about, I want to get them this and this and this. And it just multiplied and exploded, and it just became worse and worse. I would count presents to make sure that I had gotten everybody the same amount so that not one child would feel, less than somebody else. I could have totally taught a class called The Art of Keeping It Fair Among Siblings 101 because of just my level of trying to keep things even between everyone and as they were all growing up. So I obviously wasn't creating joy. My goal was to create joy. I wanted my kids to be joyful on Christmas and to have, a wonderful, amazing experience and several presents to open and just have that wonder and joy. But I really wasn't creating joy for myself, for sure, because it was just stressful the whole time leading up to Christmas, making sure that it all was going to happen and that I had what everybody wanted and all the things. And so I feel like I was completely creating more chaos in my life and really giving them all of the things that they got over the years wasn't really necessary. And I knew that. In my head, I knew that it wasn't necessary. And every year at the end of Christmas, when it was all over, I would say, I am going to do so much better next year. And I would, my husband, Sean, and I would talk and be like, yeah, we're going to do so much better next year. We are not going to, the kids don't need this much. They don't need this many presents. We are going to make things a lot more scaled down next year. And then the following year came and, it just kind of started all over again. So now my kids are all out of the house. Sean and I are empty nesters. And so it's a little bit different scenario now than it was then. So to, put it mildly, we were drowning in stuff every Christmas. The kids just got more stuff. And have you ever looked around your family room or your living room or wherever you have Christmas and you just have thought, where do we put all of this? It's exhausting, right? And to be honest, I was so glad when my kids started getting married because then that meant that I could change the narrative of Christmas. And I did, and I have. And it's been awesome. It's been so much better. So when you think about it, when it all comes down to it, what do we actually remember about Christmases? What is it that creates the memories that we have until adulthood? When I was about 11 or 12, my older sister and me, and then my brother, who's just right after me, the 3 of us had a paper route. And so we split up the paper route as to who delivered papers to which houses and everything in the neighborhood. And we had to come home every day after school and deliver papers. And through the paper route company, we won a contest. So to win the contest, we won a trip to Disneyland. And it was amazing. It was so great. We took a family trip to Disneyland in early December that year. It was fantastic. So they took everybody, my parents took everybody, and we all just went and had a great time. We stayed in this great hotel. It was like a really ritzy hotel because, of course, it was a contest-winning hotel. So we stayed in this great hotel, and we had Disneyland tickets, paid for. And of course, my parents just supplemented and paid for the others that weren't included. And we just had such a great time. The lights, I just remember it was magical. The whole trip was so magical. The hotel we were staying in, the decorations of Christmas, the churros at Disneyland, just the whole magical feeling of being there in Southern California and just being there around Christmas time, and something that we had never experienced before. It was just so great. I have no idea what I unwrapped that year because, this trip was in addition to Christmas. And so a few weeks later was Christmas. But it was the experience that year that imprinted itself on me and that I remember to this day of what a fun, amazing, magical experience it was. Okay, so we've kind of established that experiences are greater than things or better than things. Research shows that investing in experiences leads to more enduring happiness and life satisfaction than just purchasing material goods. The material goods kind of, once we get them, they just kind of fall into the category of, oh, we've got that already, that we don't need to worry about that or think about that anymore. But memories are ageless. Objects are not. So shared experiences strengthen family bonds and emotional well-being. There is a quote that I like. It says, "We don't remember days, we remember moments." And that's by Cesare Pavese. I don't know if I said his name right, but it's so true. We don't remember an entire day. Normally, we remember moments throughout that day. We remember experiences and things that we do. So let's talk about connection, perspective, and joy. We connect with each other and grow closer through shared adventures. As we travel, we get a better perspective. We get more empathy, and we have curiosity about the world, and we just really learn and grow and get a better perspective on life. And travel creates joy. Even travel mishaps, can become favorite stories. I know this happens all the time. You have something that goes wrong, and in the moment, it's just a lot of stress and a lot of high anxiety, and things are terrible. But then as you're telling about it, it's an experience that you can tell about over and over and over again. And it becomes almost funny, and it becomes a favorite story that you have in your little memory bank. So there are a couple of ways that you can gift a trip for Christmas. You can either get their opinions and feedback prior to the trip. So like just basically have them all buy in on, okay, this year we're going to, plan a trip. We're going to plan a family or extended family, whatever you want to do, trip instead of doing presents. And so you can get everybody's input and ideas and help as you are going about planning it. The other way you can do it, of course, is you can plan it as a surprise. And so you can know about it, you and your spouse can know about it and be planning it, and then gift it to them on Christmas and watch their excitement as they discover what it will be. So, as you know, I'm all about connection and traveling to make you more well. So that is kind of my thing, that I believe that travel helps in your well-being. And vacations eliminate about 90% of the holiday shopping stress. Isn't that awesome? That you really won't have to really do a whole lot else if you have a vacation plan in your back pocket. Okay, let's talk about the math. You might be thinking, there is no way that we can afford to take a family vacation for, I can definitely do Christmas for less money than a family vacation. That could be true, but the statistics show that the average parent spends about $1,000 per child at Christmas. Isn't that crazy when you think about it? And when you think about not just the actual gifts, but like the stocking stuffers and all of the other little things that go into, making Christmas a magical experience, that is a lot of money. An all-inclusive trip, a cruise, a long weekend getaway, they can cost that or less than that amount of money. So when you think about it, if you really are substituting the vacation for all of the stuff that you would buy at Christmas time, you could be saving money, or at least you might not be spending more than you would have. So a vacation obviously is something that can be much more meaningful than just buying more stuff. The difference is a beach sunset doesn't need batteries and won't get shoved in the drawer until February. So as you think about it, the way that gifts are exciting for a minute and then they just kind of get passed by the wayside, and so many things that we thought were going to be so amazing suddenly don't seem to last as long as we thought they would. Okay, of course, depending on your family, you would plan something different. So if you have a young family, you may want to do a Disney experience like, I got to experience with my family. You may want to do a cruise or an all-inclusive resort. Those are probably, I would say, some of the best options for young kids and young families because there's so much that's included just right at the location that you don't have to do a whole lot. Just get there. And then there's so much that's included there. Now, if you have teenagers or young adults, you might want to think about something more adventurous. So, for example, some adventurous destinations might be Costa Rica or Iceland or Europe. So you could think about some of those destinations. Also, cruises are great for teens. All-inclusive resorts are great for teens because they do have activities that are available along with them. Okay, what about couples or empty nesters? So if you don't have any kids, or if you don't have kids at home, or you're not going to be with your kids, but you want to plan some kind of a vacation, some of the ones that suit themselves best to your stage of life might be a river cruise. Those are awesome and so much fun. Although a river cruise, Adventures by Disney does partner with one of the river cruise lines, and so they do offer river cruise options for families as well. Just wanted to insert that. Anyway, back to couples and empty nesters. You may want to do a river cruise or somewhere else in Europe. You may want to think about a wellness retreat. Those are awesome options. Or, of course, all-inclusive resorts and cruises. I've included all-inclusive resorts and cruises on every category because there really are so many different types of cruises and all-inclusive resorts that they really can fit almost any category of stage of life that you are in. Okay, what if you have a multi-gen family? What if you want to plan something for not only you and your spouse, but you also want your kids, maybe your grandkids, and to go somewhere as a whole big group? Some very good possibilities might be someplace like Hawaii, the Caribbean. Obviously, cruises are all-inclusive resorts. Or you may want to think about a villa stay. Now, staying in a villa might seem a little overwhelming or a little out of your league or your price range or something like that. Just the word villa might conjure up something that is overpriced, but that is not the case. There are some amazing options for villas, and you just have your own space. It's similar to like just a regular home rental, but it comes with a few extra perks usually, like sometimes a cook, sometimes a butler, sometimes a private pool, those types of things. So anyway, different families, different magic. Okay, so this year, think about trading wrapping paper for the gift of wonder. Giving the gift of travel can become a yearly thing, or it can become a biannual, or you can do it every 3 or 4 years, whatever seems to work best for you and your situation. One year you can do a beach vacation. The next year maybe you do a national park road trip. You can really vary your vacations to be whatever you want them to look like. But sharing adventures undoubtedly brings lightness, joy, and anticipation. The holidays should really feel like what they're meant to be, a time to connect rather than just something so stressful like I always made them when my kids were younger. And I go back to that amazing Disney vacation that we went on that one year that was just so magical, and I just think that was awesome. And it was amazing because I was making memories with my family. I was in this beautiful, wonderful place, and it was just so much fun. So if you are ready to explore and think about maybe the gift of travel that you could give your family, I would love to talk to you. I help families plan trips that connect them, not exhaust them, so that your kids will remember the experiences, not the things. And so I would love to help you just kind of explore this topic a little more if you are interested. In the next couple of weeks, my next episode that I'm going to do, I'm going to be going in depth on destinations. So I just barely scratched the surface in this episode and didn't talk a whole lot about it, but I will go a lot more in depth for my next episode. And then there's a newsletter, an upcoming newsletter that I'm going to write, and I'm going to talk about different ways that you can wrap up the gift of travel, or you can present it. And I have some really fun ideas for that. So it's going to be fun talking about the holidays, talking about gifting travel to your crew. So if you want more information, feel free to contact me and reach out. I'd be totally happy to help you. If not, then hopefully you've enjoyed at least thinking about the holidays and dreaming about maybe someday this will work for you. And that is great too. So we will talk to you in a couple of weeks. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I would invite you to like, share, or leave a review. Let's help grow our wellness travel community.